In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and he separated the land from the water, and he created all sorts of living things to reproduce and populate the earth. On this earth that he created, he designed and placed a beautiful, perfect garden. And inside the garden is where he placed the first man and woman. Now, man was not restricted to only live in the garden. In fact, we see that God invited the people he created to enjoy the entire earth. Everything that he created, and you can eat of all the seed-bearing fruit throughout the world. We see the animals and plants spread across the globe. Now, in the center of the garden, there are two trees. The first tree, if you ate of it, it would give you life and completeness and wholeness and satisfaction and wonder and abundant joy. But the second would give whoever ate it knowledge of good and evil. But if you ate it, you would not simply have your eyes opened and see, oh, there are good things and there are bad things in the world. No. You would have a deep, intimate, personal experience with evil. That's the kind of knowledge that we're talking about. When you know it deeply and personally and intimately. And this is the one tree that God said, do not eat this. Well, the serpent, being a very, very crafty animal, somehow managed to distract man from everything that God had created, the whole world, the beauty, the wonder, the awesomeness, the perfection that God created. The serpent distracted man from all of that and got him to look at the one thing he needed to not eat, to not participate in. And man was so intrigued, so caught up in this one thing that he decided, I want that for myself. And he ate of it, and he sinned. Sometime later, Jesus would be teaching the Jewish people, the Hebrew nation, the Israelites, about God and love and faith and the kingdom, and he would use pictures that his listeners would be familiar with. He would say, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, and if you want to enter into it, you must have the faith like a child. And in one instance, he's teaching them about sin. And he says to them, sin is like slavery. Now, the Jewish people have a long history full of slavery and oppression and captivity and bondage and exile, so they know all too well this picture of slavery, being forced to do things you don't want to do, being forced to become someone other than the person you were made to be, becoming something you don't want to be. But you can't escape it. There is no way out, and it feels hopeless. When is this going to end? I just want out. And Jesus is teaching the Jews that this is what sin is like. He brings us back to the garden where we are faced with the wonder and the beauty and the life, everything God has created that we get to participate in, and instead we focus on this one thing, and it's like slavery. Because when this is all that we look at, We no longer are free to experience everything God made us for. We're no longer free to experience life and love and joy. And instead we're focused on the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We're focused on experiencing intimately this evil. And it's like slavery because there's no way out. And it forces us to do things we don't want to do. And it turns us into someone we don't want to be. It molds us and shapes us. And so we look different than the way God created us. And I hate it. And I just want out. And I can't escape the darkness, the sadness, the depression. I'm trapped. And Jesus reminds us that there is another tree, the tree of life. Yet the Jews have been so consumed with eating and participating in the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, so consumed with their own sin and their own choices, their own desires, that they've forgotten there even was a tree of life, so much so that they can't even eat of it anymore because they've forgotten it exists. And Jesus says, there is still a tree of life. And you can eat of it. You're welcome to eat and participate and partake of life. And he says, the Son will set you free from your slave drivers, from your bondage, from your captivity. Jesus, God the Son, says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He calls us to turn and to look at him and see that he has life for us. We just need to participate in it with him, believe in him, come to him. We see that when we do come to the Son and we let him build in us a new heart, a new life, and make us a new creation, freeing us from our slavery, our bondage, and we partake of that life-giving fruit. That'll be something else.